and welcome to St. John, New Brunswick, the home of the Port City. And why is it the Port City, you ask? Because our city is built around the port. Welcome to Port St. John. Port St. John is one of 18 port authorities across Canada. This occurred when in 1999, the federal government divested their interest in ports across the country. The Port Authority manages the land and waters on behalf of the federal government, following the Letters Patent and the Canada Marine Act. Although we're highly regulated, we are highly independent as well. The Minister of Transport will appoint a set of 7 board of directors who works with senior management to develop a strategic plan and objectives to grow the port. A few interesting facts about Port St. John. Did you realize that the Port of St. John is the largest port by volume in Atlantic Canada and the 4th largest within Canada? On average, we handle about 28 million metric tons of cargo each year. Within Port St. John, there are 10 different terminals on port property and 1 long-term dockside manufacturer with varying types of operations, all within negotiated long-term lease agreements with the Port Authority. Port St. John is a diverse port with capabilities of handling bulk cargo like potash, recyclable metals, petcoke and limestone, break bulk cargoes like forest products, livestock, project cargoes, and container cargo that's diverse in value-added food, agriculture products, seafood, forest products, and even snow. In addition to that, we also handle people, being heavily involved in the cruise business throughout North America. Throughout the port system, there are 2 main sources of revenue. One is through a set of tariffs and fees that are charged for ships that are operating within our facilities. The second revenue source is from the operators who lease the land. These would include the stevedores and also the private operations. Aside from the operational aspect of each port, there is also a dedicated team focusing on business development. This will assist in further developing the land available for growth and also establishing new terminal operations. In addition to that, to grow our cargo base, we work quite closely with our terminal operators and shipping lines to identify and attract new cargo opportunities, and also work with our inland transportation partners with our road and rail systems to establish competitive options to connect the Port of St. John and expand our hinterland. The Port of St. John is geographically positioned in the Bay of Fundy in the southern part of New Brunswick. Our target markets include the Atlantic provinces, central Canada, and the U.S. Northeast. We are positioned adjacent to a major highway system that gives us easy access and a close proximity to the U.S. border, being only 100 kilometers away. In addition to that, we also have on-dock rail that allows us for easy transfer of cargo for intermodal shipments. St. John is operated by one short line rail system that provides shippers and receivers with competitive rail options to allow them to connect into 5 Class 1 rail systems. Our port is connected by container into global markets with 2 weekly services with the Mediterranean Shipping Company and Tropical Shipping. Over the last 3 years, we've seen our container throughput double, which provides us with significant opportunity for expansion and modernization of our existing container service facilities. Through a partnership with the port, the province of New Brunswick, and the federal government, over the last few months, we've seen 3 announcements contribute $68 million apiece, totaling $205 million for a 7-year modernization of our container services here at Port St. John. The $205 million investment will increase capacities with container shipping, to deepen our water, to lengthen our piers that will accommodate vessels up to 12,500 TEUs from about 4,500 TEUs, increasing the amount of laydown area for containers, and also expanding our capacity for intermodal traffic and investment of new cranes. There are several elements that a port needs to remain competitive in the Canadian port system. The first is with the proper investment in infrastructure. This would include regular maintenance and expansion of terminals to accommodate the operational requirements set by industry. For example, it's a known fact that container ships are getting larger, requiring greater reach of cranes, longer piers, and deep waters to accommodate the greater length and drafts of these vessels. Also, within the breakbulk sector, having proper ramps in place to allow for loading and unloading vessels requiring ro-ro capabilities is essential. The second investment with regards to infrastructure is with warehousing. Proper availability for shipping support services like storage with dry and cold storage, stuffing and destuffing containers, consolidation, and general warehousing all add value to the overall port competitiveness within container shipping. The third investment of infrastructure would be with the accessibility for inland connections for road and rail. Proper intermodal capabilities are an extension of getting goods to market efficiently and effectively. These investments would include an ample rail pond for storage and interchange of rail cars. The ease and proximity of accessing road points is also important within port's terminals. These inland connections allow for the expansion of a port's target market in hinterland. Having partnerships with rail and road providers enhances the overall competitiveness of a port. Some value-added services that ports also invest in are bonded warehouses. Cargo then can remain in the bond without a requirement to clear customs. Also, some ports invest in free trade zones, which in a similar regard will allow for cargo to be imported, further processed on site, and then further exported with duty savings. In addition to investments required, relationships are also key in operating ports to their full potential. For instance, working with existing terminal operators and stevedores to attract new shipping lines and also to identify and attract new cargo movements through each port. The attraction of cargo can be done by both the cargo owners or through freight forwarders. Establishing relationships with freight forwarders is critical. Oftentimes, cargo owners are unfamiliar with the requirements for documentation, customs, and shipping regulations. Freight forwarders are the key element for those small and medium-sized businesses to enable them to get their goods to international markets. The third type of relationship that's key in operating ports to its full potential include inland transportation providers. This allows for transit, operations, and competitiveness to provide routing that supports and connects cargo through ports like St. John. The third key relationship that should be established would be with the inland transportation providers with both road and rail. This will ensure transits, operations, and competitiveness to provide routing that supports and connects cargo to the Port of St. John. Ports across Canada are facilitators of trade and the transportation link connecting shippers and receivers to the world. We at Port St. John are excited about our future and are looking forward to the new opportunities ahead. Our loyalty, pride, and strength as a port drives everything we do for our customers, stakeholders, and community. We are the Port City.